The laughter is a little like the say cheese phenomenon in photography, you know, where you say cheese, but are you really smiling? You know, I mean, you're smiling more than the, you know, performance of the lips. Doesn't it have some kind of inner core? So when they repeat your sounds, you know, what does it mean to laugh even? That's a difficult question.
Right.
And, you know, and...
well, and they have what I call their happy sounds, and of course I'm, you know, because I can tell when they're generally content and when they're not, you know, that's not usually when my laugh happens. I think they're just mocking me, but I don't know. Who knows? But that's, you know, they become, I suppose, my little, you know, they're not dummies, but another nicer word for it, in terms of me projecting onto them, which is what we do with parrots, and that's partly why this project, you know, is interesting to me as well, is the idea of our own relationship, human relationship with parrots. I mean, we're interested in parrots because everybody knows parrots can speak. And why are we interested in that? Well, because they're reflecting us. And so that idea of, you know, extending the kind of human element into a parrot becomes another extension of the piece, quite literally.
Yeah, I was just going to add that, you say about the word dummy, ventriloquists actually don't call their dummies dummies, they call them figures, as in figures of speech. And
there you go.
Parrots of speech.
It's interesting to think about what the parrot chooses to pick up and why also.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And when they choose to speak, and you know, who to or in what situation. Absolutely.
Right, because there is something in the exhibit about the vocal cords, you know, which basically determine to a large extent what we can say and what we can't say. And if I can get back to ventriloquism, there are certain words that are very difficult, like bees, are very difficult for ventriloquists to say. And so only ventriloquists, and ventriloquists can actually recognize how cool it is that, you know, certain ventriloquists could say all these words. Others fall into the easier words to pronounce, and so it kind of determines in some ways what they can say, in the same way as the parrot's vocal cords determine what it can say, you know. And so speaking, of course, with one's lips not moving is about the, you know, is a talent, but it's not the only talent of the ventriloquist. The talent is really to switch personalities in some ways.
Yeah, parrots don't have lips, you know.
They have bills.
They
have bills.
So it's really cool that they can say a bee.
I know.
Sure, absolutely.
Before we let the public raise some questions, I would come back. Would like to come back to the other part of it, to the loss, to the void, to the absence. One basic idea of the exhibition was that sound spreads into space and can fill up something which is void. And although it's invisible, it's here. Like you hear me speaking, but you don't see my speaking. You see my mouse making movements, but actually my mouse is there at Christie, leaning on the shelves. There's a big difference between an image and the sound. An image generally has a border. An image generally has a frame around it, so you know where the end of the image is, you know where the edge is, you know where it begins and where it's not. So you don't know it with the sound. Sound has no discernible confinement. So it's completely different. It's also different to other things in space, like a normal object, like a stone, like the lawn outside, or like a piece of sculpture. So this may be due to the fact that the voice is more connected to time, a sound is more connected to time, it folds in time, and an image or visual arts in general are more connected or more based, embedded in space. And the question of time brings us to another topic. This is the topic of loss. Because voice spreads into space, but it also vanishes in space. You can hear it, but it vanishes. You have this nice word we don't have in German, but you use this word volume for making a sound louder. Volume has two meanings. Volume means filling space and also having a loud sound. I was wondering if this filling the volume or vanishing when it fades away makes us, touches us in a way. In your piece you are addressed by people saying I love you, but these voices also vanish, they disappear. As soon they appear, they disappear at the same time. So you lose them at the same time you hear them.
And they're also contained. I mean, that's a really interesting aspect what you were saying about volume and space and filling space. And I think I'm always wanting to contain sound in order to think about how uncontainable it is or how ethereal it is.
Mm-hmm.
And to contain it is to have a sense of its pervasiveness.
You actually, if you close it, you have to feel that you close really
Well, if you close it, then you feel its boundaries.
Right.
Even though those boundaries are, created by some physical situation.